The trial of Marie Antoinette in October 1793 marked one of the most dramatic and symbolic events of the French Revolution. Once a queen of unparalleled privilege and wealth, her fall from grace culminated in her being publicly condemned as a traitor to France. The trial not only sealed her fate but also symbolized the revolutionary government's resolve to dismantle the old regime entirely. By examining the political context, the charges brought against her, and the implications of her trial, one can understand why this moment resonated so profoundly with both contemporary observers and later historians. The trial of Marie Antoinette must be understood against the backdrop of the French Revolution, which began in 1789 as a movement to address widespread discontent with economic inequality, political corruption, and an absolute monarchy. By 1793, France was in the throes of turmoil. The monarchy had been abolished, and King Louis XVI had been executed in January of that year. The revolutionary government, dominated by the radical Jacobins, faced immense internal challenges, including economic instability, widespread dissent, and civil war. Additionally, France was at war with several European monarchies that sought to suppress the revolution and restore the Bourbon dynasty. Marie Antoinette, once dubbed Madame Deficit due to her extravagant lifestyle, became a lightning rod for revolutionary anger. Born an Austrian archduchess, her foreign origins made her an easy target for allegations of treason, particularly as Austria was one of France's enemies. After Louis XVI's execution, she was stripped of her royal status and referred to simply as the Widow Capet. Her trial was as much a political act as it was a legal proceeding. Intended to unify revolutionaries and demonstrate the irreversibility of the new regime. The charges against Marie Antoinette reflected the fears and frustrations of a country in upheaval. The revolutionary prosecutors accused her of high treason, conspiracy against the French Republic, and a range of moral and political offences. The most incendiary charge was her alleged collusion with foreign powers, particularly Austria, to orchestrate counter-revolutionary efforts. Specific accusations included secret correspondence with France's enemies, her role in the flight to Varennes, and her notorious spending, epitomized by the fictional "let them eat cake" remark, was framed as evidence of her indifference to the suffering of the French populace. In a shocking turn, she was accused of incest with her young son, Louis Charles, a charge that disgusted even her critics and served to underscore the sensationalist nature of the proceedings. The charges were often based on weak or fabricated evidence, but the trial was less about proving her guilt and more about affirming the revolutionary government's authority. Marie Antoinette's trial took place in the Conciergerie, a grim prison in Paris. It began on October 14, 1793, and lasted 2 days. The proceedings were presided over by the Revolutionary Tribunal, a court established to try enemies of the revolution. By this time, the tribunal had developed a reputation for swift and harsh judgments, often influenced more by political necessity than by evidence. Marie Antoinette, though pale and physically weakened after months of imprisonment, conducted herself with dignity throughout the trial. She denied the more salacious accusations, such as incest, and defended herself against allegations of treason by asserting that her actions had always been in line with her role as a queen and mother. Nevertheless, the tribunal was unmoved by her arguments. Her defense lawyer, Claude-François Chauveau-Lagarde, faced immense challenges. Defending a high-profile figure like Marie Antoinette in a highly politicized trial was dangerous, and he had limited time to prepare. His arguments, though earnest, were no match for the fiery rhetoric of the prosecution, led by Antoine Quentin Fouquier-Tinville. The prosecutor portrayed Marie Antoinette as the embodiment of the old regime's corruption, greed, and indifference to the French people. The trial's outcome was a foregone conclusion. The revolutionary leaders sought to galvanize public support by delivering a death sentence to the former queen. On October 16th, the tribunal declared her guilty of all charges and sentenced her to death by guillotine. Marie Antoinette's execution was a carefully orchestrated public spectacle designed to humiliate her and symbolize the triumph of the revolution. On the morning of October 16th, she was led from her prison cell to the Place de la Révolution, now Place de la Concorde, in a plain cart. rather than the enclosed carriage afforded to Louis XVI. Dressed in a simple white gown, her hair shorn, she cut a starkly different figure from the glamorous queen she had once been. As she ascended the scaffold, she reportedly displayed remarkable composure, apologizing to her executioner after accidentally stepping on his foot. At 12:15 p.m., the blade fell, and her head was displayed to the cheering crowd. For the revolutionaries, her death symbolized the definitive end of monarchy and the ascendancy of the people's will. The trial and execution of Marie Antoinette elicited a range of reactions, both in France and abroad. To revolutionaries, her death was a necessary step in consolidating the Republic. To monarchists and conservatives, it represented the savagery of the revolution. European courts, particularly in Austria, mourned her execution and used it as propaganda against the revolutionary government. In historical memory, Marie Antoinette has remained a polarizing figure. For centuries, she was vilified as the epitome of royal excess and irresponsibility. However, more recent scholarship has offered a more nuanced view, recognizing the constraints she faced as a foreign-born queen and highlighting the misogyny and political expediency that shaped her trial. The charge of incest, in particular, is now widely regarded as a baseless and cruel attempt to demonize her. Marie Antoinette's trial has also been scrutinized as an example of revolutionary justice gone awry. While it satisfied the revolution's immediate political needs, it failed to embody the ideals of liberty and fairness that the revolution claimed to uphold. Her treatment underscored the growing radicalization of the revolution, which would soon consume many of its own leaders in the Reign of Terror. The trial of Marie Antoinette was more than a legal proceeding. It was a profoundly symbolic moment in the French Revolution. It marked the final act in the destruction of the French monarchy and the Ancien Regime. But it also revealed the dark undercurrents of fear, vengeance, and political expediency that characterized the revolutionary era. Marie Antoinette's fall from grace, from queen to condemned traitor, continues to captivate the imagination, serving as a potent reminder of the complexities and contradictions of revolutionary justice. Her life and death remain a poignant testament to the sweeping changes and human costs of the French Revolution.